Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining me. We will be off tomorrow, the final Thursday due to hockey-related concerns. We will be off tomorrow, then we will be back Friday. So, I appreciate y'all joining me. Appreciate y'all joining me on the heels of just a festival of lies. When we started this show, in our mission statement, we promised to highlight injustice, which I think we do quite a bit. And we promised to expose the lies. Fact check the lies. God, I love these shows. I love these shows. He makes it easy for us. He does. But the lies are so extraordinary. Extraordinary. They're so fact checkable. He thinks so little of the American people. He thinks so little of MAGA, of Democrats, of independents, of intellectuals, of those who aren't as plugged into politics. He just thinks so little of all of us. And he just says things. And he's got dementia. This unique combination in our president produces moments like we had last night. Moments like we had last night. The State of the Union, a festival of lies, and we are going to fact check the big ones. Look, it was like an hour and 41 minutes. A record, okay? A festival of lies, an hour and 45 minutes, 41 minutes, whatever. It was a record. Longest State of the Union address ever. Now, just know, going into this State of the Union address, this guy, 63% opposed his tariffs, which were just struck down by the Supreme Court. 60% oppose his immigration policy and the way that looks on TV. 70% think his priorities are in the wrong place. And his approval rating is an absolutely dismal 41%. All of these numbers rolling in to this festival of lies. Now, there were sensational moments. There were good moments. I'm going to bring you a couple good moments. So, first of all, you remember last year, Al Green. Al Green last year got kicked out for shaking his cane in Trump's direction, right? That's what he shook his cane, something like that. He shook his cane and shouted, and they kicked him out, Al Green. Well, Al Green's back, and he had a sign. What did the sign say? I don't think they're going to be able to see it in this video, Scott. What did the sign say again? That's right. Oh, I got it here. So Al Green came to the to the State of the Union address with a sign that said, "Black people aren't apes," in response to the Truth Social post out of the president depicting the Obamas as apes. And then what's really bad is Carolyn Levitt, just days later, in a press conference says, everything that comes off the Truth Social post, you can take as direct policy from the president. It's straight from the horse's mouth. He, at the time of the post, said, it was one of my aides. They made a mistake. So just lies, just more lies. So Al Green's there. Al Green's there with the sign. And in comes amateur noted pugilist Mark Wayne Mullen to raise a little ruckus, Oklahoma style, raise some ruckus. Watch this. Snatch. Ooh, Al Green's too fast. He's too fast. Let's watch one more time. Snatch. He's too fast. Mullins, man, he tried to snatch that thing and just could not get there. Green was way too fast. He was way too fast. Beautiful. There were some other moments. Ilhan Omar was there, and she got animated, which led to a little bit of drama, a little bit of theater. Give us a second to set up the shot. Yeah, okay, so he's doing his thing, and then we have some shouting coming.
You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens, in many cases drug lords, murderers all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
There she is yelling.
Why would anybody not want voter ID? One reason, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason.
Oh, God.
They make up all excuses. They say it's racist. They come up with things. You almost say, what imagination they have. They want to cheat. They have cheated.
And she's yelling
their policy
again.
is so bad that the only way they can get elected is to cheat. These people are crazy. I'm telling you. They're crazy.
And then they show Ro Khanna.
We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, my God. So Omar was shouting, you've killed Americans. You killed Americans. You should be ashamed of yourself. And he said, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should. Representative Laura Underwood walked out. She walked out, told the press, I couldn't take another minute of that speech. As far as the tariffs go, he got very defiant about that. He looked at there were some of the Supreme Court justices right there in the crowd, and he looked at him. He stared at him. He said his tariff plan would continue under his legal power that I, as the president, have to make a new deal. Oh, yeah. Very tough, very bigly, very strongly with the Supreme Court justices. And we're going to get to these fact checks. Don't you worry. I'm just giving you the highlights. I know some of you couldn't stand. I was working for the beginning of it, and I caught some pieces of it, and obviously I watched parts of it. I didn't sit for the whole 141, and I don't blame any of you if you did not as well. Do not blame you. Should we? Probably. Probably. But who can listen to an hour and 41 minutes of this? So he talked about Iran. He said he would never allow Tehran to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let it happen. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to all that fact checking. He touted J.D. Vance. He said he appointed J.D. Vance to combat the corruption that shreds the fabric of our nation by tackling widespread fraud, name-checking several Democrats. He talked about some Democrat states that were committing the fraud. He mentioned Minnesota specifically. He said he'll get out there and get it done. We're able to find enough fraud that we will actually balance the budget overnight. Okay. We will get to it. Just hold on. We'll get to it. We'll get to all of it. He said this was the golden age of America. He started the golden age of America. He said everybody's way up. Everybody's way up. 80 million barrels of oil from our new friend and partner Venezuela was actually 50. He said a lot of things. There was a lot of these fabricated moments, these sensational moments. He wanted to get the Democrats on camera not applauding or going along with the fervor for some of these moments. He wanted to kind of get them. And they fell for it a little bit in spots. They did. Like there was, a remembrance of Rena Zatruska. She was the one who was murdered in North Carolina on a bus. Remember that? And he mentioned that. He told the story, and not all the Democrats stood up, and he pointed to them and said, how dare you not? There was all those moments, right? How dare you not stand, Democrats, you filthy Democrats. Didn't acknowledge a lot about how you're struggling. Affordability is a Democrat hoax, and he didn't really acknowledge your struggle much at all. He said one part that just really, this one little blurb, this one just sits so poorly with me. It just, for obvious reasons, but it just feels dangerous and like foreshadowing. So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. Oh, man. I mean, it's undocumented immigrants, Don. It's undocumented immigrants. And you just jam that in, and you tie everybody's allegiance to this country to your war on undocumented immigrants. It harkens to other eras. And I'm just going to put it right there. It harkens to another era in humanity, and it just does not sit well with me. I don't love it at all. But let's do the fact checking. Let's do the fact checking. Let's fact check. Let's do it. That's what we're here for. I love this. I can't get enough of this. I just can't get enough. Let's jump in. He said he inherited a stagnant economy and inflation at record levels. Okay, well, the annual GDP growth under Biden's 4 years was 2.5% year over year. 2.5% growth in the GDP year over year. And as far as record inflation, no. At its worst under Biden, it was 9%. The record was in 1919, where it was 23.7% for 12 straight months on the heels of World War I. Okay. He said the economy is roaring like it never has before. Well, I just mentioned to you, year-over-year growth under Biden, this year, last year, 2025, under Trump, GDP growth is down 2.2%. What he says, the opposite is true every single time. If he says one thing, the opposite of that thing is true every single time. And as far as the economy goes, jobs, he said more Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. That bit is actually fundamentally true because so many more people are being born each year. There are more people employed right now than there ever have been. But the percentage of Americans employed, it actually fell almost 2 percentage points. 2% less Americans are employed now than they were last year. When you look at percentage of overall Americans, not the exact number of those employed. Very sneaky there. That one was sneaky. Nice try, Don. Nice try, bud. He said, he said prices are plummeting downward. Prices are plummeting downward. Well, I don't need to tell you that's a lie. You know damn well it's a lie every time you go to buy gas, pay your bills, or go to the grocery store. But let's just fact check the lies real quick. Groceries across the board are up 2.2%. Energy for your home is up 6.6%, and electricity specifically is up 7.3%. Just to be clear, Don. Just to be clear. He said Americans will now pay the lowest price anywhere in the world for drugs. Well, the median list price for hundreds of brand name drugs right now has risen 4% under his first year. We're paying 4% more for drugs. The ones you and I care about, the ones we use, the brand names, the big boys, we're paying 4% more under Don. Awesome. Awesome. He said, in 12 months, I have secured more than $8 trillion in funding pouring in from all over the globe in investments. I mean, this one's really easy to fact check because on the White House's own website, it lists $9.6 billion in investments. You fell a little short of that $18 trillion pouring in from all over the globe, Don. Just a little short. Your own website says $9.6 billion in investments into the U.S. You just make it so easy. You just make it so damn easy. He said he's stopped the flow of deadly fentanyl across the border. It's reduced by 50% in 1 year. Oh, yeah? Well, the amount of fentanyl seized is down 50%. Seized is down. Under Biden's last year, we seized 21K pounds of fentanyl. In Trump's first year, we've seized 10K pounds of fentanyl at the border. The seizures are down.
It's time for a quick break, then we break some more. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. Now back to Brett Breaks Things, smashing spin, silencing the noise, and keeping it all facts. no fluff.
Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling because I know you enjoy this as much as I do. Let's just keep it rolling. Gas prices, right? He said gas prices, they are now below $2.36 a gallon in most states. There is not one state that had an average that low. The lowest was two something. So no, it's not the average. Look, the average right now is 294 nationwide. 294. He says the average is 236. There are a couple places where it's like 216. There are, but the national average is just under $3. Complete lie, right in your face. Just lie. But you knew that already because nowhere have you ever pulled into a gas station and seen 236. You've never done it. Not you can't. I mean, not never, but not anytime recently. That's for damn sure. These 8 wars. These 8 wars. He just won't stop with these 8 wars. He stopped 8 wars. Okay. Egypt and Ethiopia. That was never a war between those two. It was over a dam project. It was never a war. Okay. Serbia and Kosovo. That didn't happen under his presidency. Okay. There was a bit of a war with them, but it never happened under his presidency. It had nothing to do with him. The Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, that has continued feverishly. There was never an ending to that conflict, and it is raging right now. Thailand and Cambodia, that temporarily, he did talk to the leaders of those two nations, and for a couple of weeks it simmered down and looked good, and then erupted again, and it is still going. And then there's India and Pakistan. There was a conflict between India and Pakistan. You remember that. Every time there's an India-Pakistan conflict, we all kind of perk up because they're both nuclear. And you remember the last time, but they both said, yeah, it flared up and then it simmered down. And by the way, neither of us spoke to Trump at any point during that conflict. We never talked to him. What is he talking about? Now, I will go ahead and give him Gaza. I'll give him Gaza. Why not? Why not throw down a bone? He definitely had a hand in the bombing ceasing, the incursion slowing down. He had a hand in the terms of the ceasefire, the returning of the bodies. Don had a hand in all of it. So we'll just go ahead and throw him that one bone, even though that was not a war. He's really 0 for 8 on 8 wars solved, peacefully negotiated. He's actually 0 for 8, but we'll give him Gaza. Why not? Why not give him Gaza? This guy. And we'll see what happens with his board of peace and his Gaza rebuild and what that looks like. He claimed that his 1776 military checks, $1,776 given to all military personnel. He claimed that came straight from the tariff revenue, which has been deemed unconstitutional, and everybody's looking for their money back. Now, that might be a problem, right? Except it never came from the tariff revenue. He took that money from the DOD's housing allowance. Yeah, the DOD got like a $9 billion bump in housing allowance for the soldiers, and he took it from that money. So really, they just paid themselves. Great job, Don. Great job. He said that the federal budget would be balanced if we're able to find and stop all the fraud happening, specifically in Minnesota. Okay. The budget deficit right now is $1.8 trillion. According to the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, there's anywhere annually between $233 and $521 billion in fraud. Okay? So even if you triple that at the most severe outcome, the worst case scenario, let's go with the 521. If you triple that, you still fall short of our deficit, Mr. President. I know you're a beautiful mind. I know you're just a math whiz, but that just doesn't work out. The numbers just don't work out there, beautiful mind. They just don't work out. I'm sorry. Here, now, this one I love. This is so Trumpian. This is so Don. He claimed that he obliterated Iran's nuclear program. Okay. Now, we already know that experts, military experts, experts in the region have told us that it was damaged, not destroyed. And there's photo evidence. People within our own, our own government were saying, no, this did not destroy it. Even one general came out and put his foot in his mouth. So everybody kind of knows it was just damaged, not destroyed. But Don says it was destroyed. But if it was destroyed, why are you threatening Iran right now with the full might of the U.S. military in the Persian Gulf over their nuclear program? You destroyed it, didn't you? So what are we doing? Why is there even a negotiation necessary? You're about to wage hell, wage war, bring hellfire to Iran and its people, and possibly U.S. military troops stationed in the region, over their nuclear program that doesn't exist according to you. That's so Don. It's so Don. He said Republicans would always protect Medicaid. Well, we have extensively shown you on this show, and you've seen other places, it's well known that the One Big Beautiful Bill cut $900 billion to Medicaid, Medicare. 7.5 million Americans fewer will be on health care this year because of those cuts. You know that. You know that. He thinks you're so stupid. So stupid. He said American oil production is up by more than 600,000 barrels a day. Under his first 10 months in office in this second term, U.S. Oil production is up 334,000 barrels per day. Half of what this liar just said. He has to lie about everything. Everything. He lied about NATO. He said that before he prodded NATO members to spend more, that the U.S. was accounting for almost every cent in defense spending in NATO. Almost all of it. Well, in 2016, when he took office the first time, the U.S. accounted for 72% of NATO defense spending. Right now, it accounts for 63%. He lowered it. That is not nearly all of NATO. Not even close. But he did lower it. He did lower it. He lowered it. Good job. He lowered it. And by the way, this Irina Zarutska, absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic. And he made a moment of it. And that's fine. But he couldn't help lying about that as well. Listen to what he said. Zarutska had escaped a brutal war. She was Ukrainian. Escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal set free to kill in America. Came in through open borders. The gentleman that killed her, and I use that term loosely, obviously, the killer, he was from the U.S. He was born in Charlotte, went to high school in Charlotte. His mother's an American citizen. He did not come in through any border. Period. Period. Had to lie about that too. Had to lie about that. Couldn't help himself. Had to lie about that. He said that there is $19 billion in fraud happening in Minnesota. $19 billion in fraud. Okay. Well, in December, a federal prosecutor named Joseph Thompson did his own investigation. He found that, by the way, the number you're looking to lie about, Don, isn't 19, but 18. And Joseph said, of the $18 billion billed by 14 different medical services in Minnesota, he said half of those might be fraudulent. So he's saying only half of the $18 billion billed by these companies, half of them might be fraudulent. And Tim Walz's administration, Governor Walz's administration, did an investigation as well. And his administration, one of his administrations said in December that they had evidence of at least tens of millions of dollars in fraud at this point, far shy of $9 billion. And Walz himself said, you should be equally outraged about whatever the number is, but they're using that number without the proof behind it. Just lies and lies and lies. on the biggest stage in the world. The biggest voice, the most influential voice, just makes a spectacle of it. With help, admittedly, with help, with Green's help, with Omar's help. He had help in making it a spectacle. He did. He did. You know, Democrats did not clap. They did not stand. But why the hell should they? Why the hell would they go on that very stage I'm describing and show any type of deference to this man? Any type of complicity? Why would they give any sign to the world that they are on board with anything that comes out of this administration? We all see it for what it is. And so this disturbed man suffering from dementia came out in front of the world and lied and lied and lied.
We'll be back to break it all down. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things, pushing back, speaking up, and holding the line.
Okay. Now we're going to get into another story that is dominating the headlines, and we're going to do it like we like to do it. All right? We are going to talk about this guy, Tony Gonzales. And we're going to bring you the details. We're going to orient you, and we're going to tell you where this is going. A lot of the details of this are kind of getting lost in the shuffle. This dude Gonzales, let me tell you, this is one of the times when a congressman should just resign. He should have stepped down a while ago. He really should have. Instead of step down, he's doubling down. He's denying, he's doubling down. He's in a primary race in Texas. And he's not stepping down. Not only is he not stepping down, he's saying things that are really hurting his cause in real substantive ways. He's not just being silent. He's saying the wrong things to the wrong people. And there is a big contingency of Democrats and Republicans that this is on their radar. They're talking about it, and they want something done about it. We are talking about Tony Gonzales, rep out of Texas, Republican. Now, he has been quietly under investigation for about a year. By who? By the Office of Congressional Conduct, the OCC. The Office of Congressional Conduct is a watchdog group. Their job specifically is to investigate claims into lawmakers. Okay? Investigate claims into lawmakers. Now, this ethics watchdog group has been looking into potential House rules violations related to an extramarital affair between Tony Gonzales, married, 6 kids, and Regina Ann Santos Avila. You're going to hear that name, Santos Avila. Regina Ann, they call her Reggie. Regina Ann Santos Aviles. Married, 2 kids. They had been having an affair. That is what the OCC was looking into. What is the problem with this? What ethics violations are we talking about here? Well, in 2018, legislation was passed, House Rule 23, barring any sexual relationship with any employee under their supervision. Talking about reps, anybody in the House. Representatives in the House, they are barred from having any sexual relationship with anyone underneath them. Any employee under their supervision. And Santos Aviles, she worked in Gonzales' office since 2021. That is what they were looking into. That is what they were looking into. September 14th, Regina Ann, she committed suicide and died. She lit herself on fire in her own backyard and died. Okay. That was the end result. Now, here's how the OCC works. They do an investigation. If they find evidence of House rules violations, they then go to the House Ethics Committee. And then they can send a referral to them. They send a referral to them that could lead to subpoenas, testimony, a full-scale investigation out of the House Ethics Committee. Okay? That's what happens. They send a referral to the committee. But there's a rule. There's a rule. They cannot send a referral on a lawmaker 60 days within an election. Gonzales' primary. They can, however, they do have time, it looks like, to begin an investigation, to send that referral over right after the primary. So this could all come to a head, and Gonzales could be held to account if he should win, or directly after losing, his primary race in Texas. That is how this is going to play out. But the press has caught wind of this. The press has caught wind of all of this. Now, Adrian Aviles is Reggie's husband. He told reporters that he found out about their affair in May. He found out about their affair in May. He went and got a lawyer. And his lawyer confirmed that they had received an email from the OCC about this investigation into Tony Gonzales. So they were appraised of the situation. Gonzales comes out and speaks to what Avila and his lawyer had said publicly about this investigation from the OCC. This is what Gonzales said. He absolutely couldn't help himself. And I'm telling you, this made his problem so much worse. He publicly accused Barrera, who is Aviles' lawyer, the husband's lawyer. He accused Barrera of, this is just Thursday, of trying to blackmail him in return for $300,000 in payment, and then Aviles would sign a non-disclosure agreement. Blackmail is what they accused Mr. Avila and the lawyer Barrera of doing, blackmailing him. Well, they heard this. The husband and the lawyer caught wind of being accused of blackmailing Gonzales, and they said, okay, here's 3,500 text messages between my wife and Tony Gonzales. Have fun with that. Sent that off to the press. Everybody gets this. 3,500 text messages between Gonzales and Santos Aviles. And they were sexual in nature, among other things. We'll get into some of the text, but I'm going to let a lot of that go. But I'm going to give you a chance to understand the tone of these texts and the relationship they had. And then the lawyer came out and said, yeah, you know what? We did come to Tony Gonzales. We tried to save his career. We tried to keep this out of the public eye. We tried to bury this for him. Yes, we did ask for $300,000, and we said we'd sign an NDA, and he can go about his merry way and have his primary and continue his political career. But since you want to say we're blackmailing people, here's 3,500 texts. He said, quote, we didn't want to ruin his career. We didn't want to go public. We tried to do him a favor. But you want to call us blackmailers. Just couldn't get out of his own way, Mr. Gonzales. Couldn't get out of his own way. Now, he is denying everything. He is denying everything. But I'm here to tell you that there was plenty for the OCC to find. There is plenty of evidence to bury Tony Gonzales. Bury him. Way too many people knew for way too long about what was going on between Tony Gonzales and Reggie. Way too many people. One person who was talking to the press, providing text messages and evidence, is a male staffer who was Reggie's best friend. He said they were very, very close friends, and they spoke a lot. They spoke a lot. Now, he's a former staffer of Gonzales, a former staffer. Not only is he a former staffer of Gonzales, the Republican rep, but he moved after this. After Reggie's death, he moved, and then he joined the political campaigns on Democrats' campaigns, political Democratic campaigns in Los Angeles. He's now working for the Dems. He's seen enough of how Republicans get down. Crazy. But this former staffer, he said flatly, she told me about the affair between her and Gonzales in 2024. That's how long this has been going on. That's how long this has been going on. She acknowledged, quote, "Well, I'm having an affair with our boss." Now, the staffer obviously doesn't want to be named. Obviously afraid of retribution and retaliation. Obviously. And he should be. He said he faulted Gonzales' office for failing to intervene in her death, saying he warned the congressman's district director months before Santos Aviles' death that he was concerned about her well-being. He's saying they knew, everybody knew, the staffer knew, the director knew, and he's basically saying Gonzales and the way he treated her led to her suicide. Okay, and there is evidence of that. There is evidence of that. There really is. Not only did this former staffer know, but other people within his office knew. Apparently many other people. There was this one house near Uvalde owned by an ex-staffer of his who gave him the keys. And everybody knew that Gonzales would go to this house and then Santos Aviles would join him there periodically for 1 or 2 hours. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. And he's going to sit here and he's going to lie about it and lie about it and lie about it. He should have resigned months ago. He should have just resigned months ago, gotten out of the way. He has dodged questions since her death. He did speak once at this festival in Austin, this Texas Tribute Festival in Austin. He spoke one time before now. Now he's getting chased around the halls of Congress by Manu Raju. Hey, comment about this, comment about this. I will not resign. I will not resign. I will not resign. Over and over again. As Raju tries to keep up with him. He's much taller than Manu. Manu's trying to run and keep up with him. It's pretty funny. Will not resign. Denies every bit of this. But he did speak once at this festival in Austin in November after Aviles' death. He said the rumors are completely untruthful. People throwing rocks at me, saying I'm doing nasty things. I totally get that. But the rumors are completely untruthful. Very tragic situation. Then a little while later, a spokesman for Gonzales came out, spoke to the Daily Mail, and they said, to see political bottom feeders distort the circumstances around her passing is truly sickening. Tony Gonzales remains laser focused on delivering historic achievements for Texas and condemns any attempts to misuse this tragedy. Okay. He didn't do anything. He will not resign. Well, this husband, Mr. Aviles, he released those 3,500 texts. He released them. You want to say he's blackmailing you? Okay, deal's off. Here's everything. Good luck with your career. And what was revealed in those texts, I described to you the relationship she had with the former staffer, the younger male staffer, ex-staffer, and all of those texts came out. That's one side of the story. That's Reggie talking to her best friend for a couple years about this affair. But man, these 3,500 texts from Reggie to Gonzales and Gonzales to Reggie, that's a whole different thing. That's straight to each other, contradicting everything Tony Gonzales is saying to us.
Breaking politics, breaking narratives, breaking news. But first, we need a coffee break. Brett breaks things, where the stakes are high and the truth still matters.
Okay, so I'm not going to give you all of the salacious details of these texts. Obviously, there's a lot of them. But I am going to share with you a couple excerpts that just, they paint Tony Gonzales as the absolute liar that he is. They paint a picture that, that I don't think Tony Gonzales will be able to talk his way around in any way. I just don't see it. Just a couple things. A lot of it got eliminated. Executive decision. But I'm going to bring you just a couple things. It started with him asking for pictures from her, right? They flirted in person, right? But then he started texting, asking her for pictures, and he pushed. She said, I don't want to do that. I don't take pictures. You really don't want a picture of me. He says, yes, I do. Hurry. And she says, well, I don't like doing that. And he says, but I'm such a visual person, right? So she took some pictures. And then he said, at one point, pull your legs up over your head while you're naked. She said, that's too far. Broke off contact for a little bit. And then he circled back, started asking for pics again. Started asking her about what sexual positions that she likes. And she said again to him, Tony, you're going too far. And he pushed, and he pushed, and he pushed. He eventually got her to agree to their first meeting at that ex-staffer's house near Uvalde. I'm not going to read you all the texts. He's guilty as hell. But I'll tell you one thing. I like this guy, Adrian Aviles. I like this guy. Her husband, he's got balls. He's got a little self-respect. Yes, he did attempt to get some cash out of this situation. He did. But he was not on board to be called a blackmailer. And I got to tell you, I have respect for the way he handled the situation with his wife. I have respect for it. Know that they stayed married through all of this and tried to work it out. Know that. Now, he said the reason I released all these texts is, he said, quote, hear from him. I'm releasing these now because I don't want to be called a liar. I don't want her to be called a liar. I also want to show proof to everyone the type of person that he is. He is a predator. He took advantage of a very vulnerable woman. I'm going to share to you how this went down in May when he caught Reggie cheating. Okay, he said he discovered the affair on May 31st, 2024. He returned home from a jiu-jitsu class to find his wife texting with Gonzales. When he confronted her, she replied, "You're not going to like what you see." 2 days after he busted her, he sent a group text to Gonzales and 7 of the members of his staff. It went like this. He said this: as Regina's soon-to-be ex-husband, he said he had learned from texts and pictures on her phone that she has been having an affair on me with your boss, Tony Gonzales, for some time now. Okay. So, he and that male ex-staffer both blame Gonzales for Santos Avila's suicide. They both do. They claim, that he pressured her. They claimed that the way he treated her, specifically the way he treated her, especially after they were caught, led to her declining mental health. Avila and both, Adrian Avila, the husband, and both the staffers said that Santos Avila Reggie, was treated differently from that point on. She no longer was invited to accompany Gonzales to meetings in the district, and appointments that she had arranged for him were canceled, and the congressman and his staff black-sheeped her and tried to make her quit. Okay. We're getting a much more clear picture of Mr. Gonzales' conduct, the pressuring, the blackballing, the lying and denying after the fact. And he's just pressing ahead with his little primary. I don't even want to bring you the details, by the way, of her suicide. They're really tough to hear. And I've decided I'm not even going to get into it because it wasn't just as simple as her lighting herself on fire and dying. It was much more than that. You can go and seek out the details. The police have not released the video, but there have been accounts from the 911 call and the scene when the paramedics and EMS arrived. And you can seek those out if you feel you need to know. And, you know, it would add more, I feel, to Mr. Gonzales's culpability in this. And the severity of his actions, the weight of his actions. You can seek them out. I'm not going to get into it, but just know that this wasn't her first suicide attempt. She had attempted suicide just a month prior, and she had, for years leading up to this, claimed that she was having suicidal thoughts. People around her, her friends, had all said that her mental state had been noticeably declining. And that ex-staffer, he says there's no way Gonzales didn't know this. And yet he did what he did. But I'm not going to get into the details of her death. She did die by suicide. No foul play is suspected. No foul play is suspected. It's important we say that. So, pressure from Democrats, pressure from Republicans. Everybody's saying things. Lots of Republicans are saying things. They want him to resign. Lauren Boebert, resign. One word. Boom. Resign. Paulina Luna of Florida. She's on the House Oversight Committee. She's a Republican from Florida. She urged her colleagues to condemn Mr. Gonzales for asking for explicit photos of a member of his staff. As a woman, this is really disgusting to see. Shame on you, Mr. Gonzales. She also said something else, man. She made an X post. This is crazy. I'm going to read quickly. Anna Paulina Luna followed up her comments on Gonzales with a post on X. Listen to Republican Anna Paulina Luna. Listen to this. I'm going to go quick. Congressional ethics is a joke. They have so much dirt on members of Congress and they do nothing. There is even a slush fund they use to pay people off with your tax dollars. This is part of why the system is so broken. They're sitting on reports, and if someone steps out of line, isn't it ironic how they leak them, threaten to leak them, or time it just right for Election Day? As you can see, there is a serious problem up here, largely surrounding sexual misconduct. It pisses me off because while some of us are actually working and busting our asses, these clowns are sexually harassing their own staff, doing illegal crap, insider trading, etc. It sets a terrible precedent for this entire institution. She continues. Go check it out. She continues. She was absolutely shot out of a cannon. What are you talking about, Rep. Luna? A slush fund to pay? What? What are you saying? Are you listening, Oversight Committee? Ethics Oversight, you listening? Holy crap. Huh. We'll let that simmer for a while. That is sixth gear out of Anna Paulina Luna. But other people are saying things. Nancy Mace is saying things. Nancy Mace, a lot of the time, she's saying things that you flat don't agree with. A lot of the time, she's off-putting. I got to be honest. But when it comes to issues surrounding the rights of women and victims of sexual abuse, because of her own past experiences, she's on the right side of these issues. And she's on the right side of this issue as well. Here is her in a walking down the hall. The press catches up to her in the halls of Congress. Here she goes.
Congresswoman, you've called for the resignation of Tony Gonzales. Have you heard anything back from leadership? No, we haven't, and I filed a resolution last night to publicly expose all the sexual harassment violations of members of Congress. I'll file it as privilege next week.
Okay, got it. And
I'll force a vote on it.
how quickly could a vote come?
2 days, I mean, a day or two after. I'll file on the 4th, we'll probably vote on the 5th.
And is this something like the Epstein files? It's going to take months and months and months to see those?
They'll probably just refer it to committee and sweep it under the rug like they always do.
Word will die. Word will die. Everything goes to die in committee.
Yep.
But if it's going to die in the committee, then how can the American people, how can Texans, his constituents specifically, know what happened?
Voters are going to have to turn out against him or, force him to resign. I mean, I don't know how he moves forward. It was disgusting. It was shameful. And it's why many women feel like second-class citizens. And we just got to say no more. He's got to go.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman.
Thank you.
Okay. Republican backlash. The guy's in a heated Republican primary with a gentleman named Brandon Herrera. Brandon Herrera is a hardline conservative, a YouTuber, a gun rights advocate, and he's known as the AK guy. Isn't that charming? And they're saying Brandon Herrera has a good chance to primary successfully Tony Gonzales. So it brings up the question of how detrimental, really, will this be to his primary aspirations? I just want to remind you that Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is running for John Cornyn's Senate seat right there in Texas. And Ken Paxton's wife just recently came out and said, by the way, I'm leaving good old Ken because he's been cheating on me. And pollsters, they noticed that it looks like Ken's got a good chance. Got a good chance to beat John Cornyn. Now, I think James Telrico has a good chance to beat all of them. All of them. I'd rather have James go up against Ken because Ken's past is dicier. And Ken is a much more staunch, zealot Trumpist. Not that Cornyn isn't, but Ken's he's zealous. He's all the way in. I feel like Telrico would have a better chance beating Ken Paxton. And we might have Senator Telrico. Oh, man. Ooh. Oof. Like the sound of that? I know there's Jasmine Crockett fans in my audience. I am a Jasmine Crockett fan. I think at times she can be a little dramatic, a little spectacular. Not quite my style, but I love her. I don't think she can beat Telrico. And I think Telrico can beat the both of them. But how seriously is this going to hurt Tony Gonzales' chance? We'll see. I mean, you got guys like Brandon Gill, who represents Texas's 26th district, speaking out against fellow Texas rep Gonzales, saying America deserves better than this. Tony should drop out of the race. You've got Chip Roy, who's running for Texas Attorney General. He said, we need conservative warriors in Congress representing the values of Texans. And then he went and backed Mr. Herrera, Gonzales' opponent. So, got to ask yourself, how much is this really going to hurt? This is worse than what Paxton did. Let's just be honest. As I bring up the parallels, Paxton cheated on his wife. Gonzales broke house ethic rules, had an affair with his aide, dumped her when they got discovered, and treated her so poorly, some speculate, leading to her suicide. And he's lying. It's not like Ken Paxton's out here lying about, no, I didn't cheat on my wife. I mean, you're not really hearing much about it from him. His wife says, hey, I'm leaving him. He's cheated on me. But it's not like Ken's out here on a lie about it tour like Gonzales is, forcing to answer questions about his resignation like Gonzales is. So I think it will absolutely hurt his chances. I think most Republicans in Texas right now are sweating these primaries and the House, races themselves a little bit more than they normally would. Trumpism, it's not that popular right now. And so they've got a little bit more reason to worry anyway, as Tony Gonzales, probably would be worried a little bit more about it now than he would have been before. But now, in the face of this and all the lying he's doing and all these Republican heavyweights calling for his resignation, Nah, he's cooked. And the minute he loses that primary, the oversight investigation begins. We're coming back for just a little bit of overtime. Stay with me.
It's time for a quick break, then we break some more. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. Breaking news, breaking rules, breaking through. Back to Brett Breaks Things.
Okay. Now, I was looking forward to this, and it's still developing. It's getting very dramatic. But I told you about Anthropic. Anthropic is a problem for the Pentagon. We did get into it. We did. Now, Anthropic's you got to know that they are the only AI company. Their Claude AI is the only AI that has classified clearance, and they have a $200 million contract with the Department of Defense for cybersecurity, all sorts of things, strategy, AI, intelligence gathering, and dissemination. Claude is the best of the best, and so they are the only AI that has classified clearance, and they have a $200 million contract with our government. But they have been a problem for Pete Hegseth because they, philosophically are at odds with this administration and Pete Hegseth's Department of Defense. Why do I say that? Because they are a self-regulating, safety-first, transparent AI company. That does not fit within David Sachs' vision for an AI America. I promise you that. Our AI czar has absolutely no use for a self-regulating, morally founded, transparent AI company. They got no use for that. Except Anthropic, they can't do without him. Claude AI is the best. So, as this relationship between the Department of Defense and Anthropic, went along, Anthropic started raising a stink. One, they didn't let the Department of Defense use their AI for civilian surveillance. Wouldn't allow it. Guardrails, safeguards on it to prevent it from doing that. Set within the company. Dario Amati set them, its CEO. Also, he would not allow the Department of Defense to use his Claude AI for any automated lethal strikes. Can't use it. It's not what we built it for. And they raised a stink when Claude AI was used to build the strategy and the analytics and planning around the unseating of Nicolas Maduro. Anthropic was not on board, raised a stink, said don't do that again. Now it's public. When Don Jr.'s little venture capitalist company wouldn't get on board with a new round of funding for Anthropic and made it public. Why? Saying, well, Dario Amati said bad things about my father. And it's woke. It's woke AI. Well, now it's public. So, Pete Hegseth goes about trying to fix the situation in classic Pete Hegseth style, in classic Trumpian style. He calls in Dario Amati, Pete Hegseth did. He called him in Tuesday morning for a meeting. And they talked. Now, the tone was civil. The meeting was about Anthropic getting all on board with the Department of Defense's policy. Stop with the safeguards. Stop with limiting our use of it. We want full legal use of your Claude AI as per our government contract. And Hegseth threatened them. Threatened Dario. Threatened him. He said, okay. Because Dario, when told by Hegseth, you need to get on board, Dario said, well, respectively, sir, I don't. And I won't. I'm not going to let you use it for civilian surveillance. I'm not going to let you use it for automated lethal strikes. He said very civilly. So Hegseth threatened him. Gave him an ultimatum. An ultimatum that runs up at 5:01 on Friday. That ultimatum is give us full, unrestricted access to your Claude AI and its use, or one, we will invoke the Defense Production Act, compelling the use of your AI model for the military making you, forcing you to give us full, unrestricted access, and we will label your company a supply chain risk. Why do I say this is so Trumpian? Because these two consequences, they're completely at odds with each other. One of them would force the company to let the government use its products unfettered. The other one would prevent the government from using the company's products. That's what labeling them a supply chain risk does. The government no longer has contracts with you, and we no longer use your product. So he's threatening to deem them a supply chain risk so the government will never use its products again. And at the same time saying we're going to use the Defense Production Act to make you let us use your product. That's how you do it, Pete. That's Trumpian. That's how you do it. That's the hallmark of this administration. Nonsensical. Can't get your bleep straight. You just can't get your bleep straight. You just can't get it straight. Crazy. So he's got this deadline. He's got this 501 Friday deadline. Anthropic spokesperson spoke about the meeting. Said during the conversation, Dario expressed appreciation for the department's work and thanked the secretary for his service. We continued good faith conversations about our usage policy to ensure Anthropic can continue to support the government's national security mission in line with what our models can reliably and responsibly do. That is Swedish level massaging. Man, and that's how you do it. You don't come out and get all heavy-handed. You don't match their energy on this, right? You be the calmer presence. He's arguing with himself. Here comes this deadline. Here comes this ultimatum. But we're not going to get upset about it. Hey, we thanked Pete. And we said, we're going to do everything we can to help you with national security responsibly. That's the problem. That's the problem, Dario. The responsibility. You seem to need just this need to be concerned about your responsibility. How dare you? Transparency, regulations, guidelines. How dare you? How dare you, Dario? Now, it is these safety nets, these guidelines, these restrictions. These are the things that Pete Hegseth is trying to take away from the Claude AI. Why do they matter? Why do restrictions and guidelines and safety nets and regulation, why do they matter? I'll tell you why. First, 3 Chinese AI companies set up more than 24 fraudulent accounts with the Claude AI model in an attempt to steal its technology. That's right. DeepSeek, Moonshot AI, and Minimax, they all prompted Claude up to 16 million times, trying to siphon information from Anthropic's system to train and improve their own products. You heard that right. 16 million probing questions and attempts to siphon AI technology through the Claude AI model using accounts that they set up with Claude. China's trying to steal the model. Trying. You see, Claude's safety nets, they caught him. At least they caught him. And we don't know exactly how successful the Chinese government, we're just going to call it what it is, was at siphoning the model. We don't know how successful these companies were. But there was another little incident. This is what it looks like when the regulations have failed, when there are no safety nets on Claude AI. A hacker, and this was given to us by Bloomberg and an Israeli cybersecurity firm called Gambit Security. The Israelis know everything. They know it all. They know everything that's going on. It's crazy. According to Bloomberg and Gambit Security, an unknown attacker jailbroke Claude, broke its safety nets, its safety regulations, broke it. prompted it in Spanish to act as an elite hacker, right? So used the AI model, getting through its regulations, used the AI model as a hacking tool, used it to infiltrate multiple Mexican government agencies. Claude found the agency's vulnerabilities, wrote code to exploit it itself, automated the data theft, and they got 150 gigabytes of sensitive taxpayer and voter information from the Mexican government offices. That is why Dario Amati is so obsessed with regulations and safety nets and security around Claude. Why it should and should not be used in certain situations. Because that's how powerful it is. Pete Hegseth wants to use it, to fulfill his wildest dreams. And use automated strikes all over the Caribbean, of course, and surveil American citizens using this AI tool. Dario Amati says, nope, you're not using it for that. So he's got till 5 p.m. Friday or else. We'll see you Friday. We're off tomorrow. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you then.